Okay, I think we are on. Hi everybody, I'm going to try to sit up here so you can see more of me here today. I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to pop on. I got a message that my internet signal isn't that great, so I'm not sure. I hope this is coming through clearly. Victoria, I just saw you join. Sarah, welcome. If you guys are getting this pretty clearly, just give me some hearts, give me some love, let me know you're here. That'll help me know that this is coming through clearly. Hey, Alex. So good to hear from you. Hi, Steve. I see Jessica. Yes, it's coming through clearly. Hey, everybody. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Victoria. Okay, great. Okay, so this is working. So, here's the thing. I wanted to make a Facebook Live here today to discuss something that has really been brought to my attention recently. Actually, it's been something that's been percolating for the last couple of weeks. Hey, Robert. I can see my cousin Pete's here. It's really cool. I love this Facebook Live. One thing I wish they would do is make it so that you guys could video in too, kind of like Zoom, so that I could actually talk to you. That would make it even better. But I got a message yesterday. Sawyer, I'm about to tell you what's on my mind. I got a message yesterday from one of the women in my Magdalene Wounds group, which is a healing course for women that I run, which she sent me a video that somebody, like a conspiracy theorist, had made online about kind of the Grammys just happened, and it was going through like all of the different hidden Egyptian symbolism of the Illuminati that was being like used in, by all these celebrities and in these Grammy performances. And a big part of this video was talking about, how the Illuminati, which for those of you who don't know what the Illuminati is, supposedly it is a secret society, a hidden cult of very rich and powerful people, and that they are, Satanists, and that they use a lot of this Egyptian, ritualistic magic in secret to rule the world. And so particularly in this video, it was particularly focused on, the worship of the goddess Isis, and how this is really deeply connected to the Illuminati and to this hidden cult of, this powerful elite. And obviously this particular influencer, this particular blogger was very, definitely like demonizing it and like, whoa, this is really, like sensationalizing it, right? So she was very concerned. This is why she's concerned, because in my Magdalene Wounds course, one of the things that I teach is I'm bringing back forward the hidden teachings of the Isis mystery school, which was a mystery school devoted to the goddess, a mystery school of one of the things that was taught there was sacred sexuality and the divine feminine. And, my Magdalene Wounds course is a whole experience of going through the ways in which this sacred feminine power was shamed, demonized, and cast out of the Judeo-Christian, tradition, which at one point it was integrated in there. And then not many people also realize that, Judeo-Christian, especially Christianity, is largely foundationally based in Egyptian mystery school traditions. So I teach that The Magdalene path is actually an extension of the Isis mystery school in ancient Egypt, as well as many other mystery schools in ancient Egypt. And so if you are a Sophia, if you are someone who is here as an emissary of sort of the divine feminine Christ in the Western tradition, in the Western world, you feel deeply connected to Mary Magdalene, you feel deeply connected to the mystery schools in ancient Egypt, particularly Isis or Hathor or one of them. But I've particularly seen those two have some like very, very, very special Illuminati kind of trauma associated with them. You know, I have just found that there is going to be a part of your soul that grapples very viscerally, okay? That grapples very viscerally with this experience that for lack of a better word, I'm going to just call it the Illuminati, but it's basically this dark lord cult of male power that has secretly run the world. And I want to do a Facebook Live about this because she was very concerned, and she's like, oh, by studying this, am I being part of the Illuminati? And I had to like look at her, like I'm gonna get close to you guys and be like, no, you're not, okay? And the thing is that these teachings were stolen. They were stolen. And the priestesses that held them for many thousands of years were raped, were brutalized, were brainwashed. There were periods of time in Egypt where we didn't even realize like the orders were going on, and we were still on an unconscious level, like the power structure had changed in Egypt, and we were being controlled really by this new power that had taken over. And so there's a trauma in the soul. And here's one of the things that I have to say. I have seen, and you can just track, you can go around the world right now and you can find every single woman who is here holding a very large piece of the Sophia mysteries, of the womb mysteries of ancient Egypt. This is what you look for: Magdalene power, Sophia power, goddess Isis or Hathor. You look for those four names. You see any woman around the world, any priestess, reincarnated priestess, who is really, really holding a very, very big piece of those mysteries and bringing them back through for others. And you listen to her and you really sit down and you get her story, and I guarantee that part of her reinitiation, part of her awakening to the path of the goddess was an experience of ritualistic abuse of a sexual nature in a cult. I guarantee it. You can, it's like, I don't want to out people on this call, so I'm not going to name names. But if you go through the world right now and you look at all of us, and you hear our stories, we have all been through it. And actually going through that experience breaks us, it fully breaks us, and then it reinitiates us into the path of the goddess, and we go on this massive healing journey where we start to bring back in the real goddess mystery teachings, and it initiates us into our path of awakening. Michelle's saying yes. And so the ones that are carrying it on a very big level, they go through it in like a really like overt, like satanic cult type of way. No, I love you too. Thank you so much. I'm feeling that love. Thank you. Because there's like a lot that's associated with this. So I love getting that love vibration. So if anybody wants to put your hearts out, please do, because it's really intense what I'm talking about. But yeah, all the priestesses that have it like really, really strongly, we go through it in like an actual ritualistic cult sense, whether it is like as a child, you are brought into some sort of hidden pedophilia ring with a lot of like money, power elites, and you go through it and it breaks you down as a child. For me, it happened in college when I was 18 and I was at an Ivy League school and I wound up in this fraternity. My boyfriend at the time was part of this fraternity called Bonesgate. And the brothers had this mascot, which was this form of the thick dick that they basically worship. I mean, it was actually called a thick dick, and it looked like a demon in the shape of a dick and balls. And they did these hazing rituals. They had like a rage cage. And I talk about all of this. You can get on my website, wakingbeauty.com. You can read my articles on all of that, or articles on my website, Sacred Wealth, the backstory, where you can read about what I saw. I won't go into what I experienced. I won't go into it in detail on this. But all of us go through this. And the reason why we go through this is what I want to talk about, which is that this actually happened. This actually happened in ancient Egypt. It actually happened. There was this massive raping of the temples. All of the priestesses were raped and were hunted and killed at one point in time. There was an experience of then the power that was taking over the world going in and usurping mystery traditions, magic school traditions which taught how to cultivate Shakti, which the sacred feminine. One of the things you have to understand about what the goddess is, like, look at women's bodies. We create life. We manifest, okay? We manifest life. We, like, all of the ancient goddess mystery schools were, and the priestesses, one of the things we guarded was like the abundance and the wealth of the people, and how that was sustained and how that was created. And the way we did that was by tracking nature. We communicated with nature. We communicated with the mother, because originally, you know, like the priestesses of Hathor, like one of our main roles was to communicate with the pharaoh about like what was needed to have a good harvest that year, and to do the ceremonies that kept the people in balance with nature. And so we were guardians of just like the okay, so in today's world, it's money, right? It's money that materializes everything. But back in that time, it was the goddesses, it was the goddess, it was Mother Earth, and it was the priestesses that sustained that connection. And the other thing about Shakti that you have to understand, or what I mean by Shakti is the divine feminine power, is that the divine feminine is actually a force of manifestation. And so we had all of these secret mysteries about how you cultivate manifestation power, how you keep it in balance. And it was all part of this really deep honoring worship for the mother, and how you keep the people in harmony, like with that mother consciousness. And these things were stolen from us. It was literally like this extreme corruption where you had the new power that was taking over, which wanted to kind of use Shakti for its own purposes, coming in and taking over and taking these ancient mystery school traditions and taking the power of the goddess and harnessing it for, you know, for the new agenda, right? For the new agenda. And so there was several like actual trauma, like really, really horrible traumas associated with this. And like, I will sit down with my sisters like in circle, and we will just like share from the Akashic. We'll share our memories and like heal each other, because like it's like literally a soul group. It's like we were literally like a temple, and like this happened and we all went through the trauma. And so Okay. I want to just like recenter, because like when I talk about it, it's like really big, right? We all went through it, and usually as part of your reinitiation, as part of your awakening back into reclaiming that priestess power, into reclaiming the womb power, the power of Shakti, the power, your divine feminine creatrix, the divine feminine creative power, you will outpicture and go through the experience of like the cult leader and the cult abuse and the ritualistic abuse again, because this happened. And so I just want to be like really clear here that like one of my goals, like one of the things that's been like really important for me, is to come back in and to bring the original intent, like the full purpose of what is Illuminati teachings, okay, forward, because whatever they're using is a corruption of it, number one. Number two, I want to be like straight up, like, yes, like these secret societies are using Egyptian magic. They are worshiping Egyptian gods. They are using Egyptian initiation rituals. From my experience at Dartmouth, you could go up, Dartmouth is an Ivy League school. What that means is it's part of this network of these old schools that were part of the founding of America, and they feed this money power elite in our culture. And there are secret societies at Dartmouth. So there is one that's called the Sphinx. And anybody can go up there. You can see there's an actual Egyptian temple, like a replica of an Egyptian temple sitting on Dartmouth's campus, where they do the reinitiations, okay? And look, I don't know what goes on in there. I can share what I saw went on at Bonesgate, which is like another famous secret society called Skull and Bones. I can share the energies that I saw. I've not actually been in these secret societies. I don't actually know how they're using this power or how they're using this magic that was taken from us. I don't know, but you know, I do know what my womb feels, which is that yes, they are using it. Yes, they are keeping it secret and apart from everybody else, so nobody else can use it. And most likely it's been severely corrupted. Why? Because like we go, like the priestesses that once held this stuff go through like god awful, twisted, fucked up experiences of ritualistic sexual abuse. And that's like what is happening culturally in America, like through the money power elite, like what we're doing to the planet. You could just go look. Just look, humanity is sociopathically destroying its own environment. So I can say just from my womb gut consciousness that yes, there's probably been like massive corruption that's come into the practices, and they're not being used the way that they're meant to be used. And I just want to say that like that's one of my missions, and that's one of my purposes, is to bring this medicine and these teachings back through in a manner that is according to the original like purity and power of the divine feminine, to reinitiate women back into that divine feminine power within themselves, to reinitiate men back into their connection to that divine feminine power, and for all of us to learn how to use that divine feminine creative power, that power of manifestation, that power of Shakti, in a sacred way. So this is just this past month launched the Sacred Wealth Academy, which is basically that. It's basically taking these rituals of manifestation through the power of the goddess and wealth and empowerment, which Egypt did study, and Egypt knew how to do it, guys. Egypt knew. And there were many different time periods in ancient Egypt. Some were more fallen and more corrupted than others, but I'm talking about like if you go way, way back, originally like there was a high degree of power and magic that they knew how to use in ancient Egypt. Even to this day, nobody in our present day civilization could build the pyramids the way the Egyptians built them. Nobody could do that because they were using Shakti. They were using what in our modern day language we would call magic. Okay, because we have forgotten the mysteries behind it. And part of that was sort of like the embodiment of God power in human form, which when it's corrupted and it's taken over and these rituals become black magic rituals and there's like no deeper consciousness, no deeper awareness used in that, yes, it's going to become what it's become today. And so I'm trying to, basically bring the original back through. And I want to say this, like, I'm in a huge healing process at all times. Sorry, my battery's low. I'm in a huge healing process at all times, like going back and resolving this trauma within myself and resolving the ways that, if you do start working with Egyptian magic, if you do start working with this power, like, yeah, if there's 1,000 to a couple 100,000 extremely rich and powerful people in the world doing like secret ceremonies using the goddess's Isis's name and using these symbols and stuff, you are going to be coming up against like that on a subconscious level because people are using it for that. So you're going to feel it. So you've got to be able to like cut through and clear, the traumatic kind of Illuminati ritualistic abuse trauma to get back into the purity of like the Divine Mother, into the purity of sacred wealth and what it meant to be a leader, which that originally was not about exploiting anybody. It wasn't about exploiting people. It wasn't about exploiting the earth. If you were a pharaoh in ancient Egypt, you were the most selfless person in that whole, originally, they would put the most enlightened person. The most enlightened master would be the pharaoh. Because that person is the one that has the consciousness of God and of selflessness enough to effectively rule people. And so many of these traditions, which were about initiating the pharaoh, that the priestesses had a lot of contribution in, many of these alchemies, many of these technologies were, it really depended on the consciousness of a time period that was so different from what we understand today. It was like a much purer consciousness. The God-man was alive in us, in human form, and it was manifested that way. And so, that's why part of like the Sacred Wealth Academy is it's not just about, taking on money and power. It's about developing yourself spiritually. It's about a very deep initiation into your soul and into like the deepest understanding of what it means to be of service to others from a place of worldly power. And originally what those roles were designed to do is those initiations were designed to help somebody that was going to become a pharaoh, that was going to become a leader in society, to be able to work in harmony with the God mind, in harmony with nature, in harmony with this sophisticated, esoteric spiritual system to keep like life and wellness and goodness alive in the people. So this is pretty much what I want to share. I feel like I've kind of got the bulk of it out. I'm going to look in and see, we had some comments here. If anybody wants to share, the other thing that I will say is that, we need to kind of open source this. If you are a priestess of, if you feel on a soul level, you have this like Priestess of Isis, Priestess of Hathor, Sophia energy in you. Like, this is one of the things that we need to really do to heal each other, is to be sharing our stories and to be contributing to this dialogue and healing ourselves. Like, so I'm just like, open source this shit. Like, if this is something that you feel resonant with, if you've had, and like, we will actually have these like weird like struggles, you know, these weird struggles with like these dark lord beings in our lives. We'll have these like weird struggles with money and power, and like, you know, like our wombs can get co-opted very easily. So like, there is a healing process that we all need to be like consciously and like collectively going through together, like together on a soul level. And you know, like I feel like that has been activating so much more, particularly in 2017, when we saw everything coming out with like the Me Too movement on more of like the like Western consciousness collective level. But I also saw like 2017 was when I first started talking about my Bones Gate experience. It's when I saw so many of the other priestesses holding like the Egyptian medicine or holding the Sophia lineage start to really come out and talk about what they went through too. And so this is part of our healing. Together. All right, guys. I feel complete. Thank you, all of you who watched here today. Thank you, Tanya. I see you saying so much yes, heart. Caitlin, I see you raising your hand and saying I'm overwhelmed. I know it can be overwhelming, and if you want to share more, like PM me. Let's come together and let's bring forward like what we need to bring forward. And I think like for me, like I have had this thing going, and this is just me personally, because like what I see a lot of people do in their healing processes is just kind of like, you go fully into the power of the feminine, you go fully into nature, womb, like sacred mother consciousness, and you disassociate from the world system, right? You just like disassociate from it, and you go back into like this Shakti feminine womb consciousness, but it leaves this disassociation there. And so one of the things that has been a really big guiding light for me personally has been like understanding that there is a karmic responsibility on some level, because these were my mystery school teachings, not my, like the lineages, mystery school teachings that were then used to create this world power system that is now like, you know, usurping and exploiting people and nature and everything. And so I feel most of us, if you are also a priestess from ancient Egypt, you also will have a life purpose that is going to involve needing to go back into this system and bring the real, like basically bring money and power into balance within yourself. So I've seen a lot of the priestesses from this tradition, like that's actually like a really important part of your soul path, is actually learning how to heal your relationship to money and power, or your relationship to what we might call like the Illuminati, or like the dark cult of like the dark lord power which rules the world, and like needing to bring back in like the sacred feminine power of the goddess and like reestablish the teachings. And like there's also like, I don't know, there's like this karmic relationship between like the serpent priestesses of Isis and like these dark lord Illuminati figures. And it's almost like we're like two kind of sides of the same coin. And what we're needing to do is like to heal. Like we need to heal on this like really, really deep level, and bring like the Western society like back into balance. And it's a big mission. It's like a big mission if you have this, okay? If this is you on a soul level, it's big. So you need to have support. You need to be like connecting with others that are like you, that understand this. And like just to kind of like, I will say that if this is you and you're really resonating and you know you need that support, I am still having like the Sacred Wealth Academy. It's still open. You can still join this year. Just PM me and we could talk about whether that would be right for you. So I love you guys. Akila asks, have I ever been in Egypt? No, not physically. I've not been there physically, not yet, at least in this lifetime. I would really love to go. Oh, that's so cool. Bring them on camera. So you can bring people on camera with this new Facebook Live. All right, my beloveds, I'm going to sign off now. I really thank all of you for watching. And yeah, I think just the main thing here is to like bring this to light and say that like let's Sarah pose like let's go. Yes, like let's go. And like this is like the power is like really, really awakening now for us to really be able to like come out of hiding and start to make a big difference, like a big change in the world. Like I really want to see this like just being talked about. I want to see people just like this next year, 2018. I want to see like the ancient ones just coming back out and just being like, yeah, we're not going to hide anymore. Like this is who we are. This is what happened. This is what needs to happen now, because like there's really like the time for like keeping all of this secret is over. Like it's over. It's time for healing. It's time for this new paradigm to be created. I love you guys. If you didn't get to watch this video, you're just joining now, like just go back and watch it from the beginning, because there's some really important information included on this. And I'm going to sign off now. Peace.